Hi guys, this is Connie. Back for some more Connie Reads The Dogs of Winter. We are on chapter 50. This one's called Retov. I hope I'm pronouncing this right. I'm so sorry for totally butchering Russian. Good God, he's a filthy little beggar, a voice from somewhere above me said. Stinks too, another voice said. My head, my legs, every part of my body thrummed with pain. Why couldn't they just let me alone? A hand grabbed my boot and started to pull it off. No, I snapped. My eyes flew open. I could not survive the winter without my boots. I could not find food for myself and the dogs without my boots. But I was not on the streets of the city. I was in a too bright, too warm room that stank of soap and desperation. I was not surrounded by my family of dogs, but by people in the green uniforms and white coats. I panted and snarled and looked about wildly for a way out. No busy streets to run down, no trees to climb, no tumble-down buildings to hide in. Only one tiny window high above my head. I gathered my legs beneath me and shot across the room for the only door. Look out, a woman in a green uniform cried. Grabbed him, a man in a white coat commanded. I clawed and scrabbled at the door handle. It would not turn. I spun to face down my captors. I bared my teeth and reached in my pocket for my knife. It was gone. And then I remembered the restaurant and the militia and Lucky and Moon and Star all trapped in that net and trying to cut them loose with my knife, and the fist to my face and the gloved hand on my neck and Lucky's eyes. I sobbed. Did they survive? A hand reached out for me. I bit as hard as I could. Blood filled my mouth. The man in the white coat screamed in pain, eyes filled with horror and disgust. I scrambled beneath the cot on the far side of the tiny room and made myself as small as possible. I watched the feet scurry back and forth. I covered my ears to block out the angry words. I shook and shivered with fear. I wet myself. Finally, the door opened and then clicked shut. No feet, no angry voices. I cried and rocked myself to sleep. Later, a smell woke me. The door eased open just a bit, and a hand pushed a tray of food through the opening. Then the door slammed shut. I watched the bottom of the door and the tray of food. When no one came back, I crept out from the safety of the cot and crawled over to the tray. I lowered my head and sniffed. The hair rose on the back of my neck along with my arms. There was something very wrong with this food. I backed away. A noise on the other side of the door. I looked up. A face with eyeglasses watched me through the small window in the door. I flashed my teeth and retreated to my hiding place beneath the cot. A day passed, and then another, and another. During the day, people came and went. If hands tried to grab me from beneath the cot, I bit and clawed and kicked. Once, I almost escaped through the door when food was brought. Food that still held the bad smell. But I was knocked to the ground. The man in the white coat, one hand bandaged, pinned my arms behind my back. Don't you know we're trying to help you? He shouted in my face. I wanted to say if he wanted to help me, he would return me to my family. Instead, I spit in his face. That night, I paced back and forth in my tiny room, trying to outrun my despair. I sat on the cot and rocked and cried and pulled at my hair. I rubbed the little tooth still in my pocket until my thumb hurt. And then, like a dream, I heard it. First a bark, then a questioning yip. I sat still as stone and listened. One howl rose, then another and another. I gasped. There was no mistaking the deep rumbling of Lucky, the high soaring song of Moon, the yip-yip of Star. I pulled the cot over to the window that was barely a window and climbed up. If I stood on my tiptoes, I could just see outside. If my eyes searched the shadows for the dogs. My eyes searched the shadows for the dogs, but I could not see them. I am here! I am here! I yipped. There, on the other side of a high wire fence surrounding the courtyard, I saw them. I laughed and cried. They had come for me. I threw back my head and howled. The dogs barked and howled in a frenzy of excitement. I could just make out Lucky standing tall on his back legs, clawing at the wire fence. I barked louder and beat my fist against the glass pane separating us. Moon and Star dug frantically beneath the fence. A bright light flooded the courtyard. The dogs froze. People ran out into the courtyard shouting and waving their arms. Moon and Star cowered before their angry voices. Lucky snarled and growled. Someone picked up rocks and threw them at the dogs through the fence. One of the dogs yelped in pain, but I could not see which one. Moon and Star fled into the street. Lucky looked from the people to my window. "Don't leave me," I howled. "Get out of here," someone yelled, and threw part of a brick at the wire fence. Lucky hesitated. Then he loped out of sight, his head and tail low in defeat. I pounded my fist against the glass. "No," I cried. "Come back! Come back!" But no matter how loud I howled and called, they did not come back. Finally exhausted, I curled up under my cot and comforted myself with the knowledge that somehow Lucky, Moon, and Star had gotten free from the awful net, and they were alive. They returned the next night and the next. They howled and they dug, and I called to them in return, "I am here! I am here!" And every night the people ran them off. During the day, I heard the women in the green uniforms wonder at the dogs. How did they find him? Why do they keep coming back? What do they want of him? One woman whispered. It is not normal the way the dogs and the boy are bound. I smiled to myself as I listened to them from the den beneath the cot. I wanted to say to them they found me and they wanted me because I belonged to them. We are bound because we are family. We are each other's place in the world, but I did not waste my words on them. They were human. And then came the night when the moon was full and bright upon the snow. I saw him. He stood silver and black and gray and proud, shifting in the moonlight. His amber eyes glowed, his voice deep and wild as our summer forest, said, "I have come, Malkik." Smoke howled our story long into the night and into the next. He told of how we found one another, and how he had saved me, and I had saved them. He howled of the glass house, and the death of grandmother, and running free in the forest. He sang of the house of bones, and the battle with the boar, and nights beneath the moon, and stars, and city lights, of cold that almost killed us, if it were not for one another. I howled and pounded my fist harder and harder against the glass window. "I am here," I cried. "Don't leave me." Dark forms, inky against the moonlit snow, stomped across the courtyard. They shouted at the dogs. Lucky hurled himself against the wire fence. One of the humans raised something in his hand. A crack and a light flashed in the night. A gun. "No!" I screamed, pounding my fist against the glass. "Don't shoot!" The dogs scattered. They regrouped a short distance from the fence and barked and howled even more. A gun fired again. A sharp yelp. "No!" I screamed. I slammed my fist against the glass. It shattered. I gasped from the pain. Blood spattered everywhere. It ran down my arm and onto my bare feet. I tore my eyes away from my blood and searched the night for the dogs. There they were, milling about, all of them moving. I panted in pain. I saw the arm raise the gun again and take careful aim. "No! No!" I moaned. My head swam and my legs shook. With the last bit of strength I had, I screamed, "Run!" The last thing I saw was the dogs disappearing into the night. Chapter 51. That's what's coming next. So that was chapter 50. Be careful with that and enjoy, please and thank you. We're so close. So close to the end. Yes, I've already said the outro. I will see you for the next chapter. Bye.